Oh, welcome back to the Matrix. And it's the Matrix you are. The Matrix. How's it feel, Neo? And today we got ourselves a banger daily market news analysis. What is up? What is up? How's everyone feeling out of 10? Make sure you guys spam that like button, hitting that share so other people can spam that like button. Let's get into it, y'all. It is July 30th, 2025. As of the time of recording, Bitcoin currently sitting at $117,312 and 39 cents. All right. And the big news is nothing happened with Jerome Powell, which was a predictable thing. But we've been talking about this. Basically, Bitcoin right now is in price discovery. We think that it's going to continue to chop for a little bit. And the altcoins, in my opinion, are going to wake up in August. And the market right now is predicting that in September we will get our first rate cut. And I think that the market's going to front run this. So expect some volatility from today, tomorrow, into, Friday even. But it's going to balance itself out. And I think the start of next week, we're going to start to see the altcoins start to really kick up and front run into the September meeting, where I do think they will cut. And I think that the cuts do not mean what you think it means. Historically, when they first actually cut, it's not really great. So I anticipate a little bit of a pullback in September. And we'll see how hot things actually get. And I just want to, sort of keep the perspective for things. Looking at XRP, just in June, XRP was at $2, $1.90. You know what I mean? In June, it's only July, not even a month ago. Ethereum was at $2,000. It's only July. These are large market caps, okay? Large market caps, essentially doubling in price. And if we were to put that into perspective of market cap, like how much money actually flew into XRP, how much money actually flew into Ethereum, how much money actually flew into Bitcoin. In June, Bitcoin was at 98K. So a lot of money has flown into these projects. A lot. Okay? In a very short amount of time. And what you really need to understand, and what I really want to convey to you, so basically, XRP in the same amount of time did slightly less than a double. Ethereum did slightly less than a double. So just with those two, I mean, we're talking 100 billion, 200 billion, so 300 billion just in two coins in a matter of 30 days. Now imagine if 300 billion flew into Chainlink. Imagine if 300 billion flew into Uniswap. Imagine if 300 billion flew into ICP. That's significant difference. Now I'm not predicting that that's what's going to happen, but I do think into the total 3, we will see 300 billion in 30 days type moves. And the others, 300 billion. Imagine right now, others. Now I could see this. Others right now. Let's look at others. That's the perspective that you need to have. That's what you need to be operating. So others right now is sitting at 280 billion. So a double, basically, 300 billion. That wouldn't be crazy. This doubling in, 30 days. That's what Ethereum just did. That's what XRP just did. That's what I think is going to happen. Okay, so this going from 280 to call it 600, that's not going to be the craziest thing in the world, but what we are going to see is some of the same structural moves that we've seen from Ethereum and XRP start to happen into the other coins. Okay? I'm not saying go max out your credit cards tomorrow. I'm not saying any of that. But this is what I think is going to happen, that the market is going to front run the rate cuts. And essentially what I'm predicting is about a double on the others call it 600 billion, probably slightly less than that. That's okay. Flowing into these coins. So with that, let's get into your guys' questions, comments, concerns. Give us some good news. Ski, yo. Bears didn't even have strength bring Bitcoin down. Literally, all we did was just range. We didn't even make a new low. Now, it wouldn't be weird. Like I said, backtesting 113 is definitely in the cards, but all we've gotten to is 115. So that seems to be a clear range for Bitcoin at this point. Basically between 115 and 120. That's just where Bitcoin's at right now. ETH still holding the 7-day EMA. Is ICP still a good buying opportunity now? I think so. I think a lot of the altcoins that we've been talking about and charting out are going to really start to feel things in August. We've had step 1 and 2. Bitcoin getting to price discovery. We've been talking about this a lot lately. That's the first major domino to fall. We got that. Then we started to see Ethereum and XRP start to catch up. The next thing is going to see our other coins like ADA, ICP, HBAR, Solana. I think that now that's the stage we're going to start going into. We're starting to start shifting into, we're going to see those coins double in 30 days, maybe more. Because the thing is, like, again, the thing that really needs to be conveyed is, like, so much more money is required for XRP or Ethereum to do a double, right? So basically that's what Ethereum did. It was just at $2,000. It was the laughing stock of crypto 1 month ago. XRP, the laughing stock of crypto 1 month ago at $1.90. Okay, almost did a double in 30 days. So what does that actually translate into? Well, that means that the market cap of Ethereum was $200 billion. So basically $150 billion has flown into Ethereum. Now, I want you to think about what would happen if $150 billion flew into ICP. That's a 10x. That's more than a 10x. You understand? Or almost. It's not quite a 10x, actually. That's a lie. No, that is. That's more than a 10x. Okay? Now, I'm not predicting that that's what's going to happen, but the point of what I'm saying is it's not even going to take $150 billion like Ethereum just had. It's not going to take $100 billion like XRP just had. It could take $1 billion. It could take $5 billion. Like, you know, just those two, what they experienced the last 30 days, that was $350 billion. Call it $5 billion instead of $350 billion. If you flow $5 billion into ADA, that's significant. If you flow $3 billion into Kronos, that is significant. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Okay. And that's where I think that we're at. That's where I think that we're flowing into. So we on Kentucky time or Texas time? I'm on Texas time. I got the majority of my... listen, sorry for the chaotic schedule, guys. I'm really apologize. Getting my house ready. Pretty much everything is done. There's a couple little honeydews here and there. Nothing insane. But the majority of it, the meat and potatoes of the house renovation is done. I think I have 4 more little projects. I got to put like quarter round up and little things like that. But most of everything is done. I think I have 4 more things to do for the house to be completely ready to sell. But the point is, I'm pretty much done with that. I would say by this time next week, we'll be completely done and listed, God willing. So the house will be listed. So that means I'm going to focus fully back on content. I've been kind of sort of coasting. I've had a sporadic schedule. I know it. I know. So we're going to get back on schedule. We're going to get back to... I go through these moments where I sprint and then I coast, and I sprint and then I coast, and I sprint and then I coast. I'm about to get back into the sprinting. phase of the game. Because in all reality, like, you know, what I was charting for Bitcoin was going to 118. We did it. You know what I mean? Let's look at the TikTok chat. I haven't read y'all's comments. What up, Ski? Let's go, Ski. Solnic contract address. Solnic is my number one 100x play. How's the day? What is up, Francesca? Good to see you here. I'm buying key areas of Solnic, FTM, Classic, ADA. Was a good buy. I think so. I think that those are solid plays. I'm group moderator. If anybody starts crying about a 2% tip, you will be removed. Thanks. Polkadot. I think Polkadot's a solid, like, blue chip play. That, again, like, I need you guys to have the perspective that in the last 30 days, $350 billion flew into Ethereum and XRP alone. We don't need $350 billion to flow into everything else. But I do think we could anticipate $300 billion flowing into others. That is going to be significant. You know what I mean? It doesn't take as much squeeze to get even more juice. And that is sort of the point of the altcoins in general. And I think that finally, you know, after 4 long years, it's been 84 years of waiting and waiting and waiting and being patient. We are on the doorstep of kicking things off. Everything that we've been charting out for months and months is coming to fruition. I need 300 billion into Link. Quant has some bullish news recently. Quant looks good to me. 300 billion into Solnic. That would be insane. That would put us at $300 a coin. Did bro do Sui? I expect September 25th. Listen, September historically is one of the worst months for Bitcoin. So if you're telling me that we're going to peak in September, I'll buy it for $1. I will buy it for $1. Miami, Florida in the house. Hey, brother. What's up? Hey, man, just joining. Is there a concern over the flash dump today? We're about to go down up more. No, listen. Here's the reality. Like, Bitcoin has been ranging here for the past, what is this, 20 days now? 21 days? 20 days? So is there a concern that we had a flash dump? No. The reality is, what I've seen, I've been doing this for a long time. Every time Jerome Powell speaks, there is a lot of volatility. Sometimes there's, flash crashes and then flash pumps. Sometimes there's pumps and then crashes. What we generally see is there's a lot of volatility, and when we look a week after it's done, it generally will even itself out. That's what I anticipate. So I'm not saying tomorrow, like, everything's going to be bought back up, but it wouldn't shock me either. There's generally a lot of volatility around the Fed, and it's not, that's why I don't think it's a great time to trade. You really kind of want to wait for the dust to settle and see, like, where's the actual trend heading. So that's what I think is going to happen again. You know, I've seen it happen 76 times. Every time this man speaks, there's lots of volatility in the market. It's a good way for market makers to grab liquidity and have a reason to do so. So that's what I think is happening. And I think that, you know, it has a way of just evening itself out. I've seen it both ways, where it'll dump and then it'll pump. I've seen it pump and then dump. But generally, it just will even itself out. Why did Sol dump so hard? Because the market, again, that's what happens when Jerome Powell speaks. There's lots of volatility. But listen, this time next week, here's my prediction. It's going to even itself out. It's going to even itself out. Penlink TA. What's up, Tyler? I think Penlink looks pretty good if I remember. 200 Sol by next week. I think that what is Solana right now? What is the price of Solana right this second? Listen, I'm not a buy next week TA person. That's not what I am. I'm going to say 185. 185 by next week. It's super possible that we get back to 200 by next week. That's definitely possible. Hi, Ski. What's up, fam? I'm predicting that the next leg comes August 6th. I think so. I think that that's very plausible. I think that August is going to be a very bullish month, and I think that September will probably have what I think is going to happen is the Fed's going to cut, and we're going to have a pullback. That's what I'm predicting. But I do think we're going to pump into September. I think the market is going to absolutely front run all of this. Hey, Ski, the master bottom feeler. Are we safe for upside? I think so. Especially the altcoins. The others is what I'm really interested in. This is just a back test of the prior range. Let's look on the 5 hour. So others is just everything outside of the top 10. And excluding, I believe it excludes the stable coins as well. But yeah, this is just a breakout back test of the prior range. Pretty, I mean, neutral to oversold right now. I'm not predicting tomorrow, but this is the one that I think is going to make the next big move because we've seen Bitcoin first. That's what I've said all along. I have not changed my tune, not one time. I said we needed Bitcoin to get into price discovery. That was the first major domino. We got that. And then I said I wanted to see Ethereum start to catch up. The number for me was 3,300, what I wanted to see. We got that. XRP started to catch up as well. The next thing I think is going to be others. Others is what I think is going to have the same structural move, which, you know, for others, catching up to Ethereum, catching up to XRP, we're talking about $370 billion market cap. I think minimum. So that to me is what's going to happen next. No sound? For who? I think you got to turn up your volume, bro. I think there's sound for everybody else. There's definitely sound. No chance VeChain goes to all-time high. Retail interest. My God, bro. If one more person says retail is broke. All right, let me show you what happened in 2021. Because it's so different, right? That's what you're telling me. It's so different. William Defoe, you're telling me it's so different. Listen, one thing I need you to fundamentally understand before we go any further. Retail is the last to enter the game, not first. Retail does not lead anything. Retail is exit liquidity. We know this to be true. Just straight up, fundamentally, one thing I need you to understand. The top 1% owns 89% of the wealth. So call it 90% of the move will happen before retail gets involved. At all. Just fundamentally. Okay? The top 10% owns 99% of the wealth. So 99% of the move is going to happen before retail enters. Period. All right, on the top is Bitcoin, and we're going to look at VeChain because I think it's a great example. I think it's a microcosm of the entire market of separating feelings from facts, separating what we think and what we feel, and if we just got this, it would make me feel good versus what actually happened. All right? On the top, let's make this nice. On the top is Bitcoin. On the bottom is VeChain. I have the same dates circled. Okay? January 6, 2021, January 6, 2021. The same exact dates are circled. Now, what I want you to notice is from the C19 crash, because I'm studying the 2021 bull run, because what I'm advocating is this moment is when Bitcoin first got into price discovery. Bitcoin did a 10x from the C19 crash till price discovery. And they said the same thing. This has been all about Bitcoin. Alt season is canceled. Their alt season is altcoins are at their bear market lows. It's been all about Bitcoin. The same nonsense, the same song, different verse. The same shit, different toilet. Okay? Bitcoin did a 10x during the same time. What do you notice about VeChain? It is at its bear market low. VeChain, during the same time that Bitcoin did a 10x, is at its bear market low. But Ski, this time it feels like alt season's canceled because my wife's boyfriend told me so. Let me separate your feelings from what the data has shown us. And from the time that Bitcoin went into price discovery, which was right here, discovering a new leg, Bitcoin goes on to do another 50% move. That's basically what I'm predicting for Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin goes to 138 to 207,000. That's somewhere between 16% and 75%. Let me show you what VeChain did during that same time. $17x. VeChain was at the bear market low. Bitcoin went on to do another 50% move. It was at its bear market low. But Ski, it's different this time. It's been all about Bitcoin. All seasons canceled. VeChain did a 17x from that moment. Come on now. But Ski, it's different. It's different. Ski, retail's broke. Ski, retail's broke. It's all about institutions this time. Ski, Skeeter bug. Ski, retail is broke. Ski, retail doesn't have any money. Ski. If I hear that one more time, I'm going to throw my computer. Retail does not lead nothing. Do you understand? Retail will not lead anything. Retail will buy when it's at an all-time high. What is going to cause retail to enter into the game? All-time high price. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Like, when do we start thinking that retail is this sophisticated, smart thing that's out trading BlackRock? When do we start thinking that? VeChain is just one example. I do like VeChain, but VeChain is like we've been doing this for the last couple live streams. VeChain is just one example, but I could go through every single chart, and I promise you they all look exactly the same. I promise you on my mama, I have yet to find a coin in 2021. This is like the fallacy of the point of what I'm making. It's not about VeChain. The point of what I'm making is there is a fallacy, a lie. There is a lie that retail has collectively believed that altcoins during the same structural moment when Bitcoin goes into price discovery, which right now it just did. 118 is the same structural. Okay, let me explain this. Okay, I understand sometimes I'm speaking Chinese. So let me bring it back and let me bring this all back. So price discovery is what? This is an important moment for Bitcoin getting into price discovery. Price discovery is not only a new all-time high. So let's look at this. So here's the 2017 all-time high. What you see is generally you don't just break above all-time highs. It kind of struggles there. You get rejected a few times. We see this a lot. Price discovery is not like this. You can't say like, so the all-time high in 2017 was 19,000 and some change, right? Call it 20,000. So you wouldn't say 20,500 or 21,000 or 22,000. That's not price discovery. Price discovery is firmly making another leg higher. And for Bitcoin in 2021, that was January. Bitcoin is the flow of money goes like this. It goes from Bitcoin is first. Bitcoin goes into price discovery. Then we go into the blue chips. Then we go into the larger chips, the medium chips, the small caps. That's how the money goes. Okay. So during the same time, I have yet to find a coin from the C19 crash until Bitcoin is in price discovery. And why is that important is because my target since 2022, when Bitcoin was at 16K for price discovery, was $118,000. I reiterated these targets when we were at 75K in April. I said $118,000 is going to start to kick things off. Okay, so now Bitcoin is in price discovery. All right. So what happens from price discovery? Bitcoin does another 50% move. It's no longer about Bitcoin. 50% is great, sure. When you compare that to the stock market, that's fantastic. But the point is, here's algo on the bottom. I've yet to find a coin. I have yet to find a coin that was not at its bear market lows during the same exact time. Here's algo. What do you see? Let's zoom in. Bear market lows during when Bitcoin finally breaks into price discovery. Literally bear market lows. It's not about the coin. It's about the structure and the order of things. Okay? Retail has been lied to. They bought a lie. Algo did a 7x from here. Okay? Link. Like, you can pick any coin. I've yet to find a coin. I have yet to find a coin on my mama. On everything, bro. I have yet to find a coin that when Bitcoin was in price discovery was not either at its bear market lows or near its bear market lows. Link might be one of the better examples, but here it is. Same date. What did Link do from that price discovery moment? It went on to do a 5x. Bitcoin only does a 50% move. Same thing for Uniswap. Like, it's not about the coin. Like, I have yet to find a coin that was either not at its bear market lows or near its bear market lows when Bitcoin was at the price discovery moment. Here we go. Same thing. Look at Uni. Let's spread this out. So right here is the same date. Right there. Boom. January. You can see on the top. January 6, 2021. January 7th is what I have. January 6, 2021. Same exact date. All right, let me circle it. This is Uni. I don't care about the coin, though. It's the structure. Bear market lows. Why am I saying bear market lows? Why do I keep saying that? Because everyone keeps telling me that altcoins are dead this time because they're at their bear market lows. As if that's not exactly what happened last time. Like, let's just look at Uni and be like, this is what people would be saying. But Ski, it's at its bear market lows. It's dead. 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 It sucks. It's trash. Bitcoin goes into price discovery. What does Uni do from here? No big deal. 16x. The point is, like, I have yet to find a coin that was not near its bear market lows when Bitcoin was at price discovery. I've yet to find it. I have yet to find it. I've yet to find a coin that was like already popped off before Bitcoin gets into price discovery. Here's Crow. Literally at the lowest point. Do you understand? Same time frame. Right in here, you can see the dates. Am I cherry picking? I have yet to find a coin. Not one coin have I found that was outperforming Bitcoin before this moment. Crow did a 15x from here. All right. Can you please take a look at XEC, Sauce, ZBEC? Does the dip seem short-term? Yes, I think the dip is short-term. But I'm retail ski. That's fine. Me too. But we need to understand how retail moves. Says, you are a beast, bro. Amazing accuracy. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Any thoughts on Bitcoin miners? I'm about to get super long. Wyckoff says the predators control the market. Exactly. Does the Apex Predators trade Solnic? The Apex Predators don't trade Solnic, but retail still behaves the same. VeChain or Uni from here? I like them both, but I'd probably pick VeChain, but either is fine, honestly. I think they're both solid plays from here. Says, bro, alts are going to run. That's what I think so. The GOAT, thank you. I appreciate you. Fuzzy sounds? Is everyone getting fuzzy sounds? I think Ondo does a 3x from here. I think people's brains literally remember the 3 weeks of 2021. I agree, Eli. And what I'm trying to do is just dispel. It's hard to, and I get it. Like, I'm not blaming anyone. I understand, like, the euphoric moments and emotions. Like, our memory is so unreliable. We just remember feelings. We remember emotions. So I'm not blaming anyone for remembering it differently than the actual facts, but what I'm trying to do is present the actual facts of what really happened. That's human nature, is just to remember feelings. That's why you can be in like a toxic relationship and you can remember all the good moments and think that this person's a good person for you, even though you had a lot of terrible things. Because our memory is very unreliable to what actually happened. There's a little feedback. Retro 90s video game. Alright, did that fix the sound? I learned so much from you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I like Flux here. I think I might have a bad it did not. Sound is still bad. Worse. Hold up. Test. Sounds good on my end. Oh, I hear what you guys are hearing. Okay, hold on. One sec. Test. All right. It might be my wire. I might need a new wire. You had it. There you go. A little better. Worse. You fix it with the first tap. I fixed it for a second. Made it worse. Okay. All right, I might need a new wire. Sometimes these things go bad. Perfect. Okay, good. I think the wire is going out. These auxiliary cords just go bad after a while. I probably need a new one. All right, I appreciate it. Appreciate it, guys. There we go. I've been having crazy. All right. Do you think XRP first click's good, then it went back? First click is good. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, do you know where my bag is? Can you show Bitcoin next move from here? I think Bitcoin goes to 138 to 207. I have another wire somewhere. I'll try to fix it tomorrow. I think that this has probably gone bad is what's happened. Just leave it there. All right. In front of you. Yeah, so my target for Bitcoin from here is 138 to 207. And it's kind of the same thing. Like, this is basically where I think that we're at for Bitcoin. It just broke into price discovery. And from here, I only think that Bitcoin does somewhere between 15% to, 75% move. That's basically what I think is left for Bitcoin this cycle. And what we've been showing is that's when the craziness happens. So right from today, it's actually 17.15%, excuse me, to 76%. That's essentially what I think is left for Bitcoin. Can you explain a couple good exit options? Yeah, that is something that I offer if you're interested in a portfolio review, exit target, personalized exit strategy. That's something that I offer. So hit me in the DMs if you're interested in that. That comes with a one-on-one consultation, lifetime access to my course, lifetime access to my Telegram group, and a personalized exit strategy based on what you're holding. So come November, everyone's going to say I should have bought more. I agree. I agree. Thoughts on DGen? XRP next move. I feel the same way about XRP as I feel about Bitcoin. Like, I don't think XRP is going to do too much more, to be honest. My targets are $5, $8, $12. That's fine, but like, it's not really a huge move. It's already done a 10x. It's already done an 11x. Let's see here. Ski, since you think that the euphoria is in November, is the euphoria for Bitcoin and alts or just Bitcoin? I think it's for both, but generally I don't think that the ROI is going to be crazy from here for Bitcoin, but I think it's more the altcoins. Yes. That's what I think. Yes. Good evening. I'm here for alt season coming. What would you buy right now? My top value plays are Solnic, HNT, Rose, ICP, Shiba, Dent, VeChain, Naka, IOTA, Flux, Theta, Krill, Suki, Raven, Dynex, LCX, Sauce, Hee. But I can't tell you what to buy. I'm not a financial advisor. You know what I mean? Peanut, do you know where my bag is? My travel bag? I need a new cord. Yeah, it should be here. See if you can.
Right here. These two bags?
Yeah. Let me see that.
This one or the other one?
That's not gonna be. It's the right one, but I need a bigger one. Yes, you see that. If this don't fix it, it is what it is. I'll have to fix it tomorrow. Says jackpot perfect. It fixed it. Super. Fixed. If you had to choose between Link and XRP, which would you choose, long term and short term? So I like them both long term. I feel perfectly comfortable holding XRP or Link for 5, 10, 15 years. I think that they are both real players long term. Okay. So if your investment time horizon is long term, I think they're both going to perform fine. Okay. Short term, however, XRP has already done an 11x, where Link is more near its bear market lows. And I think over the next, 12 months, 6 months, I think Link is going to outperform XRP by a good margin. Low volume. Turn up your volume. Oh, it is. You're right. It's because, okay, my bad. I know what's going on. My God, guys. Just rookie mistakes here. Hold on. One of these cords is jacked up is the issue. And I'll have to figure it out. Hopefully that was the right one. God dog it. Sounds good. Hopefully that fixes it. One of my cords is messed up. That's what the issue is. They just go bad sometimes. I got it. Better. All right. Sorry, guys. These cords, they just go bad sometimes. That's what the issue was. Luckily, I had a backup. Seems like an uptrend is forming. I think so. Thank you for the galaxy, bro. I appreciate you, you savage. Thanks for the galaxy. I appreciate you, you savage. Yeah, sorry guys for the technical issues. Okay, so I figured it out. It was my auxiliary cord. One of them went bad. Every now and again, they just go bad. But I think we got it though. I think we're good now. My God, if you can't live off 1 million, something's wrong with you. Do you think 1 million is life-changing? I think a million would change a lot of people's lives. I think 100,000 is life-changing, to be honest. Because honestly, for me, like going from 10,000 to 100,000 was the hardest. That was the hardest. And I think that puts you in a different, like, you're in a different game. So, like, is it going to change your life where, like, you could just, like, do you have FU money and you can just forget about things? No. But I do think that the hardest barrier to clear is going from 10,000 to 100,000. And once you go from that, I think that 100,000 to 1 million is easier than going from 10,000 to 100,000. That's a big one. I think that is the hardest barrier to clear. And once you clear that, I think that it becomes easier as time goes on. So while $100,000, it might change some people's lives, I don't think that the number itself is going to, like, where you can just retire. But I do think that is the biggest level of the barrier of where you're in the game, where the game becomes much easier after that. That makes sense. Thoughts on H bar and XLM? I like H bar, XLM. My targets are basically the same, $1.11. 100K to 1 million is only a 10x. Well, also too, like, you know, you can have a lot of you can be rich and have limiting beliefs, but I really think if, like, for my personal story of, you know, just, I grew up dirt poor. You know what I mean? I grew up, like, really poor, beyond poor. Like, a different level of poverty is how I grew up. And you have to, like, really, when you're going from poor, even going from poor to middle class is a big jump. And you have to, like, you know, there's a lot of rewiring that has to go on. And then going from, you know, middle class to rich is a different, like, you have to completely rewire your brain. And I don't think $100,000 makes you rich. I think rich or poor is your mindset. And that might be cliche, but the rewiring that takes place from going from 10,000 to 100,000 generally is, you know, once you get there, generally you're going to have the correct mindset, which is going to enable you to go to the next level much easier. The Web, thanks you for the $5 donation, brother. I appreciate you. Ski, will Bitcoin and XRP be your biggest bags again the next bull run? Probably Bitcoin. It's also not about making it, it's about keeping it. That's 100% true. The first 3 rules of wealth are: rule number 1, do not lose money. Rule number 2 is to see rule number 1. And rule number 3 is to see rule 2. So anyone, you know, 1,000x, I've seen people do 1,000x's, but if you 1,000x and then you multiply that by 0, it's still 0. And I've seen the story and, like, how it actually practically plays out and why I think it's better fundamentally. People think of crypto. Okay. Here's a really good mindset shift that I think is going to be valuable for you. People view crypto as a get-rich-quick thing. And I think that they see people who have sort of pulled the lottery ticket and boom, they put in $27 and now they're retired. Right? And that's like kind of what we see as the goal of crypto. But that's not realistic. Does it happen? Yes, it does. Do people turn $1,000 into $1 million? Yes, it happens. Okay? But what I think the better, more sustainable path that is going to serve the most amount of people is not viewing it as a get-rich-quick thing. I think it's a get-rich-eventually, and setting up the building blocks of the fundamental of investing and learning the correct mindset of DCAing, having the emotional fortitude, having patience. You know, easy come, easy go. What I've seen so many times is people actually do 50x, 100x, 1000x. I've seen people do it. And then what do? They're looking for the next 50x, 100x, 1000x. And then they keep pulling the slots and they keep pulling the slots and they keep pulling the slots. And eventually their 1000x dwindles down into a 500x and it dwindles down into a 30x and it dwindles down into a 10x and it dwindles down into a 5x until it's all the way gone. I don't know how many times I've heard the story of I made all this money, then I got rugged, and I tried to make it back, so I pulled from my fundamental thing into this nonsense to make it back, and now it's all gone. So, while I hope that you get blessed and lucky along the way, and maybe you are the person that turns $76 into $1 million. I hope it happens, really. I really do hope it happens for you. But if you don't learn the fundamental lessons, you're not going to keep the money. Easy come, easy go. So if you 1000x your money and then you multiply it by 0, it's still 0. So I would encourage you and challenge you to think of crypto not as a get-rich-quick scheme, but as a get-rich-eventually system. With patience, discipline, dedication. The fundamentals of finance are the fundamentals of finance. And if you stick to it and you consistently stack wins, it's a very winnable game over a long enough period. And maybe along the way, you do catch some 20x's, some 50x's, some 100x's even. Great. But you don't need that to get you to where you're trying to go. And I would argue that that can pervert your mindset. And it can pervert the way that you think about things that is going to be damaging to you long term. If that makes sense. And it will do more harm than good. Because there's nothing worse than the feeling of, you know, going from 0 to 1,000 or 10,000 or 1 million or whatever, and then you lose it all. The saying goes, like, it's better to have loved and to have lost than to have never have loved, but that's not true with money. I think people would be more happy just being broke consistently rather than having it and then losing it all. That's a even more depressing feeling. So I would challenge you to, like, if you get lucky and you get a 100x, a 1000x, great. But that shouldn't be your baseline. You should be stacking wins. You should be patient. You should be consistent. You should be disciplined. And crypto absolutely is a game that you can get rich eventually if you do these things. But if you try to forego all of the lessons, then you're going to forego all the lessons. And that means you're not going to be a likely candidate to actually keep the money, which is rule 1, 2, and 3 of finance is do not lose money. Thank you for the $5 donation. Bro, thoughts on ZBAC Coinbase listing, new all-time high, incoming thoughts. Okay, so my thoughts on ZBAC are over the past, it's been super, it was red hot. I remember it did a 9x in a matter of, I think it was 45, it did a 9x in 45 days. And I was like, if you were my brother, this is already at a retracement. Okay, I haven't looked at this in a while. This is a good de-risk zone, to be honest with you. So, all right. ZBAC, we went through this long, grueling period. It did a 9x, crashed down, reaccumulated. I think I don't remember what my target was. See, I might have waited for the day that never come. I think I had a 2.1 target. I probably missed it. I don't remember, actually. I haven't looked at ZBAC in a little bit while, but I do remember saying, like, it broke the parallel downtrend. So that was a good sign. But it's already at the retracement. It's already at the 702 retracement. This, to me, is always your first de-risk zone. So if you did buy this dip or you didn't get to de-risk over here, the 702 is a good place to de-risk. My targets for ZBAC are 1.5 pennies, 1.5 cents, and 2 cents. So those would be my next two targets. This would have already been my first target. The 702 is a really good place to de-risk because we don't ultimately know, is this going to go into price discovery? Is it going to double top? Generally, the 702 is the decider. Are you going to just plow right through here and go into price discovery, or do you reject, reaccumulate? That would be the healthier thing. That would give it a larger base to build off of. If it were to get rejected here, come back, reaccumulate. But this is crypto, and it had a pretty nasty correction, so I'm not going to predict that it's going to get rejected here, but those are the two outcomes. When you're at the 702, I know it sounds like, oh, it could go up, it could go down. I get it, but really the 702 really is like that. Not everywhere else is like this. It had a 66% correction. So that's where it's at. It's at the 702 Fibonacci retracement. That is the decider. If you start getting daily body closes above the 702, 9 times out of 10, you go into price discovery. If you don't, then you get rejected. You're likely to come back to the 382 or even the 236, reaccumulate before then pushing higher. So that's my thoughts on ZBAC. To me, it's not a great value here. This is a de-risk value. But thanks for the donation. We're going to do analysis for Quant. I like Quant. Buy Sonic and HODL. Sonic's my number one 100x play. Thank you for the galaxies, bro. My God. Thank you for the galaxies, you savage. I appreciate you. I turned $450 into $260 and $260,000 in Pepe and made me gamble for months. Yeah, that. I mean, that happens. I've seen that story a lot. But that's okay. Like, it's great. Like, I'm rooting for all of you to hit the jackpot and hit your 1000x. But what I'm advocating is it's not necessary to succeed. You can stack 3x's. You can stack 50% gains. You can stack 5x's. And you're going to get there. So listen, can you get a shortcut? Great. But does the shortcut really forge the lessons required to keep it? Not usually. ICP 20, 40, 100, low, medium, high. $300, $700, $1,300, low, medium, high for Quant. Why do you give 3 different numbers like XRP? I always do that. That's my strategy personally. I put it, okay, so why do I give, when I give targets, why do I give 3 targets? Okay, so here's the answer. Generally, my first target is a retracement target. Everything that has good tokenomics, generally 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, will go to my first target. So the first target is a pretty safe target. Now, is anything guaranteed? No. Some things will happen. They'll dilute the supply. The blockchain will be broken. I can't predict everything. But generally, target number 1 is a pretty safe bet. And it's pretty conservative. And target number 1, for me and my strategy, is all about taking profit, securing the win. Guaranteeing a win. Stacking the 20%. Stacking the 50%. Stacking the 2x, stacking the 5x, guaranteeing a win, stacking that and building that momentum. That's what target number 1 is about. Target number 2 generally is, I would say that target number 1 is highly probable. Target number 2 generally is highly plausible, not as probable though. And then target number 3 is plausible, generally. It can happen in the realm of reality. It's not going to be the most ridiculous thing in the world, but it's plausible. Not necessarily likely, but plausible. And the way that I do things is I stack wins. Okay? I guarantee wins, and then I let it ride. And I put it in terms of baseball. Why do I give 3 targets? Because I recommend taking profit multiple times along the way. You don't need to sell the absolute top. You don't need to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and sell at the absolute top. Take profits along the way. So I say it like this in baseball terms of like, how can you get rich eventually in crypto rather than, rather than get rich quick? Well, get rich eventually in crypto looks like stacking wins. Okay. And so I put it like this in terms of baseball. Okay, baseball, it's the bottom of the 9th. It's the World Series. Bases are loaded. 2 outs. What's the best thing that can happen in that scenario? What's the worst thing that can happen in that scenario? The best thing that can happen is you get a grand slam. A 4-run shot, you win the game. 4 runs. That's the very best case scenario in that. The worst case scenario is you strike out and you lose the game. Okay, crypto is not like that. Okay, what if you were playing the game, but instead of you get 3 strikes, you get 3 outs, well, maybe you get 300 strikes and 300 outs. And if you secure profit, that's what you do. You basically, you forego your risk. You forego the risk of losing the game. So that's what take profit number 1 is about. It's about, I'm taking it from 3 strikes and 3 outs. Now we have 300 strikes, 300 outs, because we've secured the win. We have guaranteed that we can no longer strike out. Okay, great. Now, what is the best case scenario? 4-run shot, right? Crypto's not like that. You might get a 4-run shot. Great. You might get a 10-run shot. You might get a 200-run shot. And that's how you stack wins, is being conservative in the beginning, guaranteeing a profit, and then staggering profits from then on out. So you basically have a risk-free grand slam, but instead of having a 4-run shot, you have the potential of hitting the massive, massive home run in crypto, which might be a 400-run shot or a 40-run shot. But you have taken the risk of striking out of the equation. So why do I have 3 targets? That's why. The first one is conservative. The second one is more plausible, but a bigger win. And the third one is less probable, but a massive one. And I advocate that people take profits along the way. And just get out of this mindset that you need to be the guy that comes in like a sniper and buys the absolute bottom. You're not in the red for a second. And then you're gonna buy it. You're gonna go on this super sniper mission, this top secret squirrel mission. You're gonna go down and you're gonna buy at the absolute bottom, and you're not gonna be in the red for a second. You're gonna be the person that got the wick. And then you're gonna wait, and you're gonna wait, and you're gonna wait, and you're gonna wait, and it's gonna get hot, and it's gonna get hot. Hold it, hold it, hold it, and then at the absolute top, we're gonna sell. Listen, one person is going to do that. Maybe not even the same person. One person will buy the absolute bottom, and one person will sell the absolute top. I pray, I hope, I pray it's you. But you don't need to do that to make money. You just need to be in the correct flavor. You need to be okay with leaving a little bit on the table. If you've done a 10x, what the hell is another 10%? Who cares? That's for somebody else. That ain't for you. I hope and pray you are the person that bought the bottom. You are the person that sold the top. But you don't need to. You just need to be in the right flavor. That's it. So get out of that mindset of buying the bottom, selling the top. Just buy low and sell high. Be in the right flavor. You don't need to be the secret sniper mission. Wait for the day that never comes. One guy hits a home run, team still wins. Exactly. You talk about XLM, any price predictions? $1.11, $2.22. Bro, thank you for all the galaxies, man. NCT, I got you. I was on my rant. Appreciate you, Jordan. Generally, I mean, I feel like we look at this one. It looks really good. Same thing. Like, I think it's in a prime spot. Do I think it's going to get to $1? It can. But I don't think it's plausible this time around. It would be more like crazy euphoric, where I think the more plausible thing is 43 cents. 60 cents. So my low, medium, high, I'll give you 4 targets, would be 8 cents, 25 cents, 43 cents, and then 59 cents. Those would be my targets. But I like the chart. I mean, it looks like it's doing Wyckoff accumulation, sign of strength, back test of the prior range, move higher, reaccumulation, holding this trend. Like, I think it's headed in the right direction for sure. But I don't know that I would wait for the day that never comes, like $1. Maybe a little bit. Maybe hold 20% for $1, 10% for $1. But I don't know that I would wait your whole bag on $1. You know what I mean? Follow and subscribes. That's right. ICP 2040 100. Should I invest in meme coins? Not generally. My favorite is Solnic, Fat Cat, Hee Hee. Solnic to 50 cents is conservative or medium. I would call it schmedium. My conservative target is 10 cents. My medium target is $1. So my beer bet is 7.5 cents. And if you know me, if you've been watching me long enough, I only bet things when I think that they're actually going to happen, because here's the secret sauce. I don't actually want to shave. So when I bet 7.5 cents, the real number in my brain is 10 cents. I'm going specifically lower so that I'm giving myself wiggle room. Price target for ETH and ADA, 7,200, 12,000 for ETH from here. It already hit the first target, which was 3,300. ADA 2468. DOT 2040 100. Thank you for the roses. I'd love to see a V-chain beard bet. All right, I'll do that. Chain link 3878 178. Thank you, Ski. I appreciate you, bro. All right, guys. It is dinner time. I'll be live about the same time, generally 4 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. If you want help setting up a personalized exit strategy, where we go over your entire portfolio, it's a one-on-one consultation via video call, via Google call or Telegram, whichever you prefer. Either is fine with me. Lifetime access to my course, lifetime access to my Telegram group. That is something that I set up where I put out my calls, my trades, my holdings, all that stuff. So if you're interested in that, hit me in the DMs. Whether it's with me, yourself, or somebody else, I do think it's a very valuable thing to set up an exit strategy before we get into euphoria. Okay? It's going to be hard to navigate the emotions of this game when we're ripping. It's going to be against your natural inclination to want to sell. You're like, oh, is it going to go higher? Is it going to go higher? So whether it's with me, yourself, somebody else, have an exit strategy beforehand. When things are boring, when things are quiet. That's when you want to make your exit plan, not when things are ripping, okay? And if you want help setting something up like that, hit me in the DMs. That is something that I offer. But that is going to be it for this time. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, at your boy Ski on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. No, at Guyasky on Twitter. On YouTube as well, at your boy Ski, YABOYSKEY. At Skis Crypto is the main account on TikTok now. The backup is at your boy Ski. I will never message you first. If a your boy Ski or a Skis Crypto slides into your DMs and says, how are you doing? How's your trading going? How's your mother? Any of that stuff, that's not me. That's somebody from Pakistan, Kakistan, Turkestan, and English is not their first language. I'm never going to message you first, okay? If you message me, I will message you back. But if somebody messages you saying they're Ski or Skis Crypto or any of that, guess what? It's not me. I promise you. I love you. It's not me, though. All right?